if you were blindfolded, put on a plane, and dropped onto this patch of Earth. You'd swear you woke up on another planet. What you see in front of you are hundreds of strange, umbrella-shaped trees. Massive rocky mountains disappearing beneath the clouds. Arid terrain and landscapes that make you think of another planet. This isn't movie CGI. It is a place created by real nature. This is Socotra, an archipelago floating in the Indian Ocean, pinned between the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Because it split away from the African mainland eons ago. Evolution here took a completely different path. It's so isolated that over 37% of its 825 plant species exist nowhere else on Earth. It's a place scientists call the Galápagos of the Indian Ocean. And it holds secrets, legends, and ecosystems that defy everything we know about nature. Today, we're venturing into the lost world of Socotra. We'll uncover the ancient myths behind its bleeding trees, explore its massive underground caverns, and look at the modern forces threatening to erase this living museum forever. To understand Socotra, you have to start with its most famous resident, the dragon's blood tree. Anyone who sees this tree for the first time often cannot help but ask, why does it look so strange? But the thing that surprises people the most is not its shape. It is its blood-red resin, with just a slight scratch to the bark. Resin as red as human blood can be seen flowing down. Local folklore tells a heavy story about this place. According to ancient Socotra legend, this island was the setting for the world's very first murder. It's said that when Cain slew his brother Abel, Abel's blood spilled into the dry soil. From that exact patch of earth, the first dragon's blood tree grew, condemned to bleed crimson for eternity. In Arabic, the tree is still called Dam al-Akwain, which literally translates to the blood of the two brothers. For this reason, for centuries, this tree has become the center of legends. But what is even more interesting than the legends is the actual history. Over 2,000 years ago, this red resin was a highly valuable commodity around the world. Ancient physicians used it as a medicine to heal wounds. Roman gladiators used it as a skin-hardening varnish before entering the Colosseum. Renaissance artists ground it down into a vibrant pigment for their masterpieces, as a vibrant red pigment. You could even say this resin was a priceless natural treasure of the ancient world. And look at the shape of the tree itself. It's not shaped like an umbrella just to look cool for Instagram. This is a masterclass in evolutionary engineering. Socotra is incredibly arid and hot. The tightly packed canopy acts as a giant shield, preventing the scarce water in the soil from evaporating, while simultaneously trapping atmospheric moisture from the morning fog. It creates its own mini ecosystem right beneath its roots. But the dragon's blood tree isn't the only botanical anomaly here. If you hike down from the Dixon Plateau into the lower valleys, the vegetation gets even weirder. Meet the Adenium obesum sacotronum, more commonly known as the desert rose or the bottle tree. These bizarre plants have evolved giant bulbous trunks that function exactly like water tanks. They store massive amounts of moisture inside their spongy wood to survive months of brutal, blistering droughts. This isolation didn't just warp the plant life, it completely rewired the animal kingdom. While Socotra lacks native large mammals, it is an absolute goldmine for reptiles and birds. But to find the real hidden chapters of Socotra's history, you have to go underground. But this 20-million-year-old paradise is facing a modern crisis. Because of its extreme isolation, Socotra's ecosystem is incredibly fragile. Today, it's being hit from two devastating angles: climate change and human impact. In recent years, unprecedented cyclones like Meg and Chapala have torn through the archipelago, uprooting thousands of ancient dragon's blood trees in a single weekend. Some climate models predict these iconic trees could see a 50% decline within our lifetime. Furthermore, political complexities and regional conflicts have left the island ecologically vulnerable. Yet, despite these massive hurdles, the indigenous Socotri people are working alongside international conservation programs to fight back. They are building local plant nurseries, fencing off vulnerable zones, and promoting strictly regulated ecotourism to prove that a living tree is worth far more than its timber or resin. Socotra is a stark reminder of what happens when nature is left to create in secret, and how easily those creations can slide into extinction if we don't pay attention. If you found this deep dive into Socotra fascinating, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. It helps us keep telling these stories from the most remote corners of our world. Before you go, let me know in the comments below. Would you ever visit an ecosystem this fragile? Or do you think places like Socotra should be completely locked away to protect them from the outside world? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.